So you're looking at buying a property and you simply don't find enough information on the realtor's website and you want to find a little bit more. Well, that's what we're going to look into in this video here. So sometimes you go to buy a property and either the municipal taxes aren't shown or the value of the house is not shown based on municipal evaluation, or you just don't have an idea of the configuration of the piece of property that you're looking at or how it's close to its neighbors or not. If you want to find that extra information, there's actually a few websites that are for free that can get you access to that information. Being in Quebec, a lot of those websites may be limited to French. I try to have a bit of both, but you might have more that are dominated by French. So first off, we're going to look at a piece of property here that we might be interested in buying. So I have this piece of property that I'm looking at. It's a nice big lot. And I just want to know a little bit more about its configuration. So without going into the details, I could see what the lot number is. Le numéro de cadastre is the lot number in French. Well, from there, I could go to this website here called Infolo. I'll link the different websites on the page. But with this website here, I could see that there's a free access gratuit. And if I click on there, I have to read through all of these. I've read through, I accept. And then I have to select something to let me know that I'm not a computer and then show what I'm using. And on this website here, it's quite interesting because on this website, you could kind of like zoom into any municipality of Quebec and see how all the lots are divvied up. And you could also see how the municipalities are divvied up. So I'm just going to start zooming in. I know that this is in Bolton East and I'd be zooming in and the property is somewhere over here. But actually early on when I was trying to find this property, it took me a while to find it. I had to kind of click, like if I were to go in, I know it's on this road here. And if I were to click, I could click through all the lots and go like, oh, is it this one? Is it this one? And so on. And actually this time I was quite lucky. I found it on the third go. This is the same lot number. But if you don't want to have to click too often or too long, what you could do is actually input the lot number here. So if I were to do that now, you would see that it would highlight the lot that I'm dealing with right here. It would highlight this one here. It would bring us to it afterwards. If I had to click on it there, boom, it zooms in. So I'm looking at this piece of property, and right now what I'm kind of gathering from information from it is, one, it's quite long. It's not very squared shape, has just a little bit of frontage on the street. So I really have to make sure that if I were to build, I'd be able to make a road through there to get access to where I'd want to put my house, because I wouldn't want to have it by the street if I have such a big lot. And that's just extra information that you could find there. And then from this information here, you could actually go and look for municipal evaluations and taxes and everything else on the municipality's website. So you'd have to go in Bolton East and you'd have to kind of go through the process. So here, if I go on the Bolton East website, well, there's a French and English version, and essentially you're looking for a rôle d'évaluation foncière in French or assessment role. And if I click here, I could see, I could use this tool here and then access for the public. And what I have access to now is not an address, it's not a roll number, it's a lot number. So if I were to put that same lot number here in, I already did it before, so it's quicker. And then I could get the information. So it tells me it's on Bellevue Road. And then I click on it, I could see who the owner is, what their current address is for their taxation reasons, what's the frontage, what's the total land size, and I could see how much it's evaluated at, what was a previous evaluation, and so on. So I could get a good picture here. If she had not provided the information required in terms of assessment, I could find it online. So that's the kind of information that's very interesting to look at. And for the people kind of looking at this property more, things that are interesting to look at is here they mention the idea that this property is white zone, which Normally a large property wide zone, you'd be like, cool, I could subdivide this. It's expensive, but I could subdivide in multiple lots. But lower down, it says that this land is not divisible. It's not separated. You can't separate it. So right away, you're like, well, it's white land, which normally gives me the option of subdividing, but she's saying no. So there's probably reasons why not. Maybe it's because of lack of frontage on the street, so prevents them from subdividing. Maybe there's other rules in place in this municipality that I'm not aware of, but this definitely has a big impact on how much you should value this piece of land, because it's no longer a project that you could subdivide and create a lot of lots like I did with my piece of land. It's a project that's similar to a green zone agricultural land. You'll probably just be able to build one house on this and you're limited to that. So obviously the value should be in line with that. And right now they're asking pretty much double what the municipal evaluation is. I'd say when it comes to municipal evaluation with land, take it with a grain of salt. Sometimes there's these land that haven't been sold in a long time, so they're not really great with the actual evaluation. My land was fairly undervalued, which for me is not a big deal because it just leads to smaller municipal taxes and I knew its value. But otherwise, just keep that in mind when you're going through this. So now let's look at a separate example. Here I'm looking at a piece of property, a house on Lake Brome. And it sounds great because it seems like it's on the lake, but you could kind of see it's maybe more on the river in this picture here. But I want to get more information. Another thing to note from previous videos as well, this property here is taxable. And the reason why, if you kind of read through the description, as maybe it's on the other description, it's taxable because this property used to serve as a business, as a gîte or something else. So because of that, you have to pay taxes on it, which comes back to that video that we had on what makes a property or a house taxable. So this would be the selling price, but on the pictures and everything else, I just don't know what the configuration of it is. So what I could do is then go into Lake Brome, and what I actually did here, I'm just gonna fast track through the system. Instead of looking by lot number or by matricule, I looked by address, because on the other detailed sheet that we have here, if I were to click on it, you would see that it's on 19 Rue Brook. And because of that, it's written up here. I could see, so maybe I wanted more information on taxes, but in my case here, it's really hard for me to go on Infolo and try to find out which lot it is by lot number, because it's not mentioned in the actual ad. And typically lot numbers are not included in the actual ad, so it would have been hard to find. Like I could zoom in to the map, but there's a lot of properties in their area. But if I find the information here on the tax purposes, I could see the lot number here, which is that 3939298. And with that information, then I could go back to Enfolo, and I kind of zoomed in the area. This is like Brome Lake. And if I zoom back in, once again, I could just punch that information there. Or actually, if I zoom in enough, I could see that this is the property that's going on. So I could see how big it is, what shape it has, how close the neighbors are, and so on. And then I could use like Google Maps to actually get like an aerial view, a satellite view. There's a lot of things you can do without actually going to the location, without actually having to call someone. And as you can see, it's not that long. So the things you have to remember from this is, on Enfolo, you have like a lot of information on all the lot configurations, and it tells you the lot numbers, but then it kind of stops there. Unless you're kind of a paid customer, then you might have access to other things. But then afterwards, on all the municipalities in Quebec, as far as I know, you could kind of type in the rôle d'évaluation foncière or assessment role, and then the municipality's name, and then you could have access to this page, which will either give you access to this specific information by address, by lot number, and then afterwards you could kind of pull that information, no information about municipal assessment, go back to Infolo. You could play around. So if you have some information but you don't have it all, it's easy to kind of complete that information through this process. So hopefully this video was interesting for you to kind of figure out some of the different tools available to you out there. and that it's just going to make your next purchase a little bit more educated, a little bit more information involved, so that you know what you're talking about and that you could kind of have an idea of what's going on in that municipality and so on and so forth. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll catch you guys soon. If you found this video interesting, please consider subscribing or joining my class where I guide you to apply and expand on the information found in these videos to real life examples. Have a good day.